Okay, so the last time we were here, we were talking about all of those symbols, and that was going pretty well for us. I would say a lot of people were giving me a lot of good answers, and it looked like people were starting to feel the whole idea about substituting symbols. Yes, you do email me the homework. The file name is a big deal. You got to put your last name and your first name. Um, and your block in front of the title of the homework. Okay, so your homework assignment would be, Doe, John, block one, logic, A1 homework. So that would be yesterday's or last class's homework assignment. Today's, what you're going to be submitting to me today, would look exactly the same, except you would, we're on day 2 now. Okay, so that would be that. Because I get so many emails. I mean, if you think about it, if everybody does their homework, I get 300 emails. And that's not an exaggeration. So yeah, I need to have the day, I need to have your name, and I need to know the block. Okay. All right. So one of the things that we were talking about last time were conditional statements, and I just want to like bring everybody's memory back into that a little bit. A conditional statement was the if-then. Snap. One moment. Got some people coming in. All right. So the if-then statement was the arrow, right? A goes to B. And we remember that this was the hypothesis, and this was the conclusion. Okay. This happens first, and then this happens second. Okay. Now, so this was what we were doing yesterday. It was one of the things that we were doing yesterday, but what we're going to be doing today is talking about sentences that start this way, and then we do things to them. Okay. So the one thing I want to point out is that the the conditional statements always have an if in them. So, for example, if it is Tuesday, then I work. Okay. So we've got, in this sentence, we've got an if and a then, so we know we're dealing with an arrow. And this is the hypothesis, and this is the conclusion. And, the first thing that happens is Tuesday happens. And once Tuesday happens, then you go to work. You don't go to work and then the calendar spins through days and lands on Tuesday. I mean, that doesn't really make sense, right? Just because you're working doesn't mean that it's Tuesday. So it doesn't really make sense to do it backwards. But sometimes you're going to see sentences that they rewrite it a little bit. For example, how about this? Oh, sorry. So let's look at this sentence because it looks like I flipped it around, but if you look at it carefully, the if tells you that this happens first. You go to work because it's Tuesday. So even though it's out of order, the if tells you that this is your hypothesis. And this is the takeaway message. Whatever is after the if is the hypothesis. Okay. And that kind of makes sense, you know. I mean, like if you're in your science classes and that's where you learned about, you know, hypothesis and conclusion, right? You know, if this is true, then my conclusion is right. You know, like if my guess is if that's what's happening, then you look at the conclusion. You don't do it the other way around. So the if is the big key word that I want you to remember. All right. But let's take a closer look at some of these sentences. Because what we're going to be doing is we're going to be talking about 3 different sentences today and what they look like. And the first one is called the converse. In the converse, we change the order. I want you to notice that the CO of converse tells you that you are changing order. That's kind of like a little mnemonic to help you remember it, okay? Converse changes order. So in this case, you know, we would start off with A goes to B, and we would have B goes to A. So where the conclusion leads to the hypothesis. And for those of you who remember from your science classes, that's usually not the way you do it, right? You know, you don't run the experiment and then say, well, what happened? And, you know, I mean, you make an educated guess and then you perform the experiment. So for example, let's take a sentence like this. If, and this is the conditional, if it is a tiger, then it is a cat. Okay, so do you believe this sentence? Okay, we've talked about a sentence like this the other day. Okay, so do we agree that this sentence makes sense? If you're pointing to a tiger, then you are automatically pointing at a cat. Is that correct? I'm getting conflicting answers in the chat. Are all tigers cats?
No.
Are there, so that means that there are tigers that aren't cats?
Wait a minute. If it is a tiger. No, can't there be other types of cats?
Yes, but that's not what this is saying. I'm saying, I'm pointing at a picture of a tiger. Am I pointing at a cat or am I pointing at something other than a cat?
A cat.
No, if
Yeah.
you're pointing at a tiger, right?
Okay. Let me ask you this question. Which one of these is the cat group? The big one or the little one?
The big one? No.
The big one is a cat.
Cats are bigger
there's more
groups,
variety
right?
of cats.
Yeah.
I mean, because you got lions and house cats and, you know, panthers and all sorts of other cats, right? So cats are out here and tigers are in here. Do we agree with this?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
sir.
Okay. Now, so if you're standing, if you're pointing at an animal that's living inside this circle, this group, they're automatically in this group, right?
Yep.
Yeah, because
If
they're
you,
in the
like,
small.
Yeah, if you live in Manassas, you live in Virginia, right?
Yeah.
That part.
Are we good with that?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So now let's take this sentence and flip it around. Do you agree with that sentence?
No.
No.
I agree with you. That's correct. This is not a true sentence because we've got lions, right? No, or my house cat, right? I mean, if all cats were tigers, then people would be living with tigers every day, right? You know, it doesn't, you know, there are a lot of cats that are not. So the point here is that when I take this sentence and I flip it to make the converse, I'm making something that is not true. So the converse is often not true. So let's do an example, one more about converse before we go any further. I gave you this conditional. If the conditional is okay, take a second and tell me what, or write down what you think the converse would be. Remember, the converse doesn't do anything but changes the order. Okay, I'm getting some good answers in the chat. So what you do is you take these parts, you leave the if and the then, right? You leave those alone. And you take the pieces and you switch them. So is this always true?
No.
Yeah,
Because converse is false.
right. But think about it. Just because it's cloudy, does that mean that it's raining?
No.
No.
No, sir.
No, you can have a cloudy day and not have it rain. Absolutely.
Mhm.
Okay. So the whole idea is all you do is you change the order. Take it and flip it. Okay. So let's do the next one. The inverse. In the inverse, you insert not. Okay. A little mnemonic to help, I guess. So if I have, and let's just do an example. So we don't change the order. We just make the pieces negative. So let's go back with my tiger example. So that was the original sentence. And then the inverse, we still have the if and the then. That doesn't change. By the way, that's never going to change for the whole day. Okay, all of your answers are going to have an if and a then, and they're not going to move ever. Okay. If is not a tiger, so take a look and see what that does. Let me ask you, well, first of all, copy it down, and then think about this sentence. Is that sentence true? Okay, Anthony, okay, so I agree with you. That's true. If I'm pointing at something that is not a tiger, then it may or may not be a cat. So let me ask you this question, Tony. Give me a counter example. Give me an example of something that is not a tiger and is a cat.
Uh, if it's a house cat, then it's a cat.
Right, exactly. Yeah, like my house cat is not a tiger. Believe me, I don't want to live with a tiger. They're very big and they eat you. But
Yeah.
it is a cat. Okay. Okay. So this is the thing. So one thing that we can say about the inverse is that it is also not often not true.
All right.
So let's do one more example just to be clear about everything. So if that's my conditional, what would my inverse be? So what would my first? Sorry.
If you live in Virginia, then you live in Manassas.
That what you just did was flip them. You
Yeah.
gave me the converse.
Oh.
I need the inverse.
You don't live in Manassas, then you don't live in Virginia.
Right. Remember, the inverse is insert not. Right.
Yeah.
So if you do not live in Manassas, so remember, you've got A and B, and then the inverse is not A and not B. Okay, insert not. Okay, so I want to kind of organize. We've got one more type of sentence to do. but what I want to do is I kind of want to organize these so that we can kind of see all the facts in one place. Okay. So if we're good, first of all, let me ask you this question. Using like your hand raising feature, right? Well, better question. Scale of 1 to 5. 5 is I'm good, I got this, no problem. 1 is what language are you speaking? I don't understand. Send me a private chat telling me 1 through 5 how you feel about all this so far. Private chat. Okay. Okay. Cool. All right. So I had a ruler around here and I just lost the darn thing. You don't need a ruler. I just wanted to make my notes look good. Okay, so we've got the conditional. We have the converse. We have the inverse. And the last one that we're about to have in a second is called the contrapositive. Okay, so let's go through. I'm going to talk about this last because we haven't covered it yet. But I just want to like write down all the facts that we've gotten for the 3 that we've already talked about. So the conditional is the one that we started with yesterday. It's the if then, and it's normal, right? I mean, it's the kind of sentences that we were dealing with yesterday. You know, if I go to the store, then I will buy a soda, you know? Okay. But in the converse, we changed the order. We switched them around. Okay. Now, you know, it's still an if then, but it's been changed. In the inverse, we start with the conditional. You always start with the conditional and you insert not. So you negate both of the pieces. Okay. Now, we're going to talk, like I said, the next one is the contrapositive, but I'm going to write it down right now. In the contrapositive, we do both of these things. We change the order and we make them negative. We do both. Okay. And you wind up with not B implies not A. Now, we're going to talk, like I said, hold off on this, on putting your brain around this too much. But this is often not true. And so this is often false. And I should just say often, because it could be true sometimes, but it's rare. And this one is often false also. This guy, however, is true. All right. Now, can we just for a second think back when we were dealing with that lion and cat example? And I said, you know, if it's a tiger, sorry, if it's a cat, then it's a tiger. And I said, give me an example. And some people were saying like stuff like lions and house cats and things like that. They had counter examples that proved this wrong. And then when we were doing it over here, we said, if it's not a tiger, then it's not a cat. And people were throwing out the same lions and the same cats and jaguars and all of that. these two say the same thing. They both are often false, and they're both disproven the same way. These say the same things. Okay, so these two are related. Okay, now before we go any further, let's go into the contrapositive, and then we'll come back to this page one more time. Okay, so hold on to this. We got one more, we got a little bit more we're going to write about it. Okay. All right. Oops. So the contrapositive is when we do both. We flip it around and we insert the negative. Okay. So this one, let's go and say, can anybody maybe give me a guess what you think the contrapositive is going to look like? If this is my conditional,
Would it be if it is not a cat, then it is not a tiger?
there we go. Very good. So let me ask you this question. Is this sentence true? I got 1, 2 people talking to me. Come on now. Think about it. I'm pointing at something. It's right over there. And it's not a cat. Well, if it's not a cat, it can't belong to any of the cat family, right? So, and since the tigers are in the cat family, and that's not a cat, then it can't be a
False.
tiger.
Yeah, it's false.
Whoa. It's false? Think about that for a second.
It's true.
If I'm pointing to a dog, I can guarantee you it's not a tiger, right?
Yeah.
You know, if we think about that Venn diagram, right? If I've got cats and tigers, if I'm out here because you're not a cat, then you can't be inside the tiger group.
Yeah.
The tiger group is inside the cat group. You know, if you don't live in Manassas, then you don't live in Virginia.
Yes.
You know, there we go.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, let's go back here for a second. So this was true, and this was true. And these two say the same thing. So when you're doing your work, keep this handy. Okay. All right. So let's do some examples. if it is cold, okay. So now for this sentence, and this is the kind of thing that you'll be asked to do, I want you to give me the converse, the inverse, and the contrapositive. And we're going to do this one together, okay? So the converse is when you change the order. So first of all, you're going to have an if and a then. Okay, and that's going to be true for everybody. All right. Okay, so in the converse, you take your pieces and you switch them. So if it is blue, then it is cold. Can somebody give me the inverse?
If
If it's not cold, then it's not blue.
yeah.
Okay, good. You see, we inserted the knots. And then in the last one, we're going to do both of those actions. We're going to change the order and we're going to insert the knot. Anyone?
If it's not blue, then it's not cold.
Good. Are we doing okay on this?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Okay. Mustafa, how you doing over there? I haven't heard from you all day. Okay. Got a lot of quiet people here this morning. Okay. So which one of these are we having the most trouble with? Anybody? Okay. All right, let's do some more examples. Okay. So I'm going to give you, whoops, sorry. I'm going to have you do these on your own without me. And then we'll check and see if we got them right. Well, before I cut you loose on stuff, I want to do one more example of something specific. So what's different in this sentence than other sentences that I've given you so far?
The conditional does have not.
You're saying I am.
There's a negative statement in one
Yeah,
of the.
not. And
Yeah,
and.
I've got a negative in it already. Okay. 1 second. Okay. So so the converse, I'm not changing anything except flipping the order in the converse. Okay. So okay, so take a look and just make sure that you're cool with that one. Okay. The inverse, we take this and we insert not. So I am happy is going to become what?
If I'm not happy,
The if and the then are always going to be there. Now, how do I write the negation of that?
I'm crying.
Yes, you are crying, because if you are not crying, then you are crying. The contrapositive would be, anybody want this one?
If I am crying, then I am not happy.
Correct. Okay. We doing okay on this? Numbers 1 through
Yes.
5, people. Okay. All right. So here's
Excuse me,
what.
mister.
Yeah. Who was that? Yes, Omnia. What's up?
Yeah. In the inverse, why didn't we put like not in both of the
Okay.
sentences?
Because in this part, good question. We took this and we negated it. We made it negative. Okay. So that's why we had the not in that one. You see, this one was already negative. Okay. So
Yes.
when we made a negative, when we negated a negative, you make a positive.
Oh yeah.
Remember, that's the double negative part, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Good. Okay. So here's what we're gonna do. Do you guys remember we went into that Padlet the other day? Here, I'm gonna give you a link, and I'd like everyone to follow. Oh wait, wrong one. Follow that link to the Padlet, and we will do some. We'll do some examples. Okay. So just to make sure that everybody is where they're supposed to be, go in here and type hello, just so that I know how many people are playing with me today. Don't need to give your name. Remember, it's all anonymous. I want your honest answers. You just want to know how many people have followed the link. Kaylin, I want you to say hello in the chat, not in the chat, but in the Padlet on that link. I want to know how somebody got yo up there. Who did that? How'd you do that? No problem.
Mom and Dad are leave.
Still missing like 10 of you. Ah, you're all hiding down here. All right, I only have 20, and there are 24 of you, but some people just don't want to play. Okay. So here's what we're going to do. Conditional. Aw, sad face. Okay. Not okay. Take a look at this one. Remember, it's anonymous, so I don't want to be picking on anybody. But what did this person write? Take a look at this one I'm putting up here in the top right-hand corner. It's not the inverse, but it is one of our sentences.
Is a contrapositive.
Yes, that's correct. This is the contrapositive, because what this person did was they did both. They made them negative and they
They flipped
changed the
them.
order. Right. This is the contrapositive. Okay.
Yeah.
That's they're all over the place, people. Yeah. Okay. Good. Everyone seems to be doing really well. Okay. Let's clear the posts. Let's do another one. Oh, this is the conditional. Okay. All right. So in the contrapositive, we did both. We turned them around and we made them negative. So it doesn't have four legs, and it is, and then if it is, I can't speak. If it does not have four legs, then it is not a dog. Good. I'm glad we all came to the same pieces here. This is great. All right. Um, right, I'm gonna change that. Okay. Okay, do you remember in the beginning I talked about the word if and that the hypothesis is right after if? Take a look. You need to keep the if and the then. Oops. Excuse me. You need to keep the if and the then in the same places. What these two students did was they kept the if with the Saturday part. And you see, that's not the converse. The converse, all of them, converse, inverse, contrapositive. The if goes in the front, always. If we move the, if we don't keep the if in the front, then we aren't making the converse or the inverse or the contrapositive. So these two people, this up here and this right here, they need to go back and change those real fast. Though, hey, if you did it this way, look at the right hand side. If I can't sleep, then it's not Saturday. Come back in and fix those two, okay? Please. No one knows who you are. Just change them, please. Okay. All right. So you just got to make sure that the if and the then don't switch. They stay put. Okay. Let's do this. Okay. Now, let's go back into notes. Okay. And let's try this. What's my converse? Write my converse in the chat. See, now I'm asking you the same thing, except I'm doing it just with symbols, not with words. Okay, I'm getting some good answers. All right, good. We just changed the order. What's my inverse? Nice one, Brenda. You insert not. All I did was change the letters from A to B to P to Q. Good. And the contrapositive. Good. Not Q goes to not P. Okay. Oops. What is my inverse? So in the inverse, remember, we insert not. Good catch, Tony. You do need to look at that again. Yahira is great. You got it, Yahira. That's right. Mary, you're on it. Tony, you got it back. Good. Because we make the R negative and we make the not M negative, and a negative negative makes a positive. Okay. What's my contrapositive? Okay. You flip them around and you make them negative. You do both. And finally, the converse. Yeah, in the converse, I take this and I flip it. Good. Good, good, good. A lot of good answers, people. All right. So, in the chat, private tell, okay? I want you to do a private message to me and give me, what you think. 5, I got this, and 1, you're like, oh my God, what's going on? Private tell. Okay. All right. Good. Happy about that. All right. So let's take a second and go to the Canvas page because you've got an assignment that I posted. All right. Let's bring up the screen. Bring up the class. Hold on. And share my screen. Okay, so you have this new announcement, Object Day 2. And remember, okay, well, here's the deal. I want everyone to look at this because you're going to do your homework a little differently than you have in the past. You're not going to, you don't need to print the document. Take a look. By the way, this is the last time I'll ever give you anything multiple choice, by the way. All right. So here's the thing, guys. You've got a bunch of multiple choice questions. So your answers are either A, B, C, or D. Except for number 7, you actually have to give me the converse, the inverse, and the contrapositive as a sentence. Okay. And then here again, it's A, B, C, or D, A, B, C, or D. And then in the last part, you're going to give me the symbolic form like we just did a minute ago. So here's what I want you to do. Just so that it's a lot easier to grade and make it go fast, I can give you your answers quickly. All I want is an email. But I just want you to put, I want you to put your answers in your email. You don't have to take a picture of the document or any of that other stuff. You don't have to send me the PDF because you can't edit it or anything like that. So here's the deal. Take a look. Your email, obviously this isn't block 4, this is block 1. Okay. In your email, I want the subject line to be your first and last name, the block, and logic day 2. Okay. And then in the body of the email, I just want you to tell me number 1, number 2, number 3. And then remember, number 7, you got to give me some sentences. And then number 12, you got to give me some symbols. Okay. Does anybody have any questions about how you're going to turn in your homework? All I want are the answers in an email. When's it due? Next class. But it's fast. It's real fast. If you guys were really like 4s and 5s today, you'll burn right through this in no time. Okay.
In Office 365, we'll send you the email.
Yeah, you're gonna send me an email, please.
All right.
Yeah, just send me an email in your in Office, with, you know, don't forget the problem numbers, please, because it's gonna be easy to get lost. So just make sure that you put the problem numbers with it, and, you know, A's, B's, C's, or D's, your sentences, and then your symbols. Okay.
So we only do 1, 2, 3, 7, and 12?
No, I want you to do all the problems that are there, but I'm not going to sit here and write all the answers out for you. Okay. So yeah, just write. All I want are the answers. You don't have to write the problems. You just write the answers. You
Okay.
do all of the problems in the homework assignment. Okay. Okay. So if you have questions or anything like that, please stick around. But otherwise, go ahead and go to your next class. I'm going to leave you a couple minutes early.
Thank you.
Subrata, if you're having problems with Office, you need to contact the school, because they can work with you on all of those technology issues. Okay. Send an email to what the heck is her email address?
Bye, Ms. Veronco.
Take care.
You too.
See ya. 1 minute. Let me give you the email address of the person you want to talk to. For tech issues, you want to contact that's an L. Okay, so Subrata, if you're having issues with your Office, contact her, send an email to her, or have your parents send an email to her. Her name is Miss Brunn. And she should be able to, don't worry, Michelle, I'll take care of your attendance. You're all right. But I don't know how to fix the name, so, but you can ask Ms. Brunn. She can help you with that question too. Okay, so, okay, so are we all good with technology stuff? You guys have other questions? Subrata, are you cool? Take care, Mary. I'll see you later.
Mr. Veronco,
Yes.
There you go.
What's up?
you can go.
Yeah, you can go. Emmanuel, hold on for a second. I want to talk to you for a minute.
I wasn't here for the beginning because my internet was down.
Bummer. Okay. So here's, when did you get in?
Like
Like you missed 10 minutes?
like
You missed a half
I missed
hour?
like 15 minutes, 10 minutes.
Okay. Well, it shouldn't be the end of the world. I mean, you were here for, did you get the material? Do you understand how to do these things now?
Yeah.
All right, well then you're good. I'm not worried about it.
All
Not
right.
the end of the world. We're cool. You got here. You learned it. I'm cool.
All right. Thanks.
Sure, man. You have a good day. I'll take it easy now. Okay? All right. Omnia, what's up?
Veronco,
Yeah.
yeah, I just wanted to ask you about the last assignment.
Yes, that was the logic day one. Okay, what's
Yeah,
up?
so I didn't get to like so much, so I just wanted you to do with us only 1 or 2 examples.
Okay, and that was okay. So it's substitution, really, you know. So for example, let me see if I have that document handy. I do. So like for example, on the very first one, number 1, it says if it rains, then the football football game is postponed. Okay, so what you do is you first decide what symbol you're going to be using, and since you've got an if and a then, you know that you've got an arrow. So that's the first thing you do. What I would suggest is to go down the whole document, okay? Go down the whole document and decide what your symbols are going to be, okay? And then go in there and decide what's happening with these. So for example, this is a P, and the football game is postponed is a Q. So now that I know what my symbols are and I've decided what the pieces are, I can just put them in there and I'm done.
Okay, I have a question. Why it is arrow? Like why it's not?
Whenever you have an if then,
It's arrow.
it's an arrow.
Okay.
That's the implies.
Yeah. And how can I do like an arrow in my computer? Laptop, I
You
mean.
just use the like the minus sign and the greater than sign.
Oh, okay, okay.
That's fine. You don't need to be fancy about it. Just use the keyboard.
Okay.
Cool. And if
Thank you
need-
so much.
And if you need anything, just find me during office hours. I'm
Yeah,
here today.
so
Cool.
did you get my first assignment? Not this one, not the logic day one.
Probably. I think I've you talking about the one with like a picture of you and the places you want to go and stuff?
No.
The
The other one, the
the
one.
Desmos one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've answered all of those.
So you got mine?
Yeah, I might not have put it in. I think I did because I don't think I've got any more of those left. But I'll look again. Some people might have sent them a little bit later, but yeah, I think I've gone through all of those, but I haven't put all the grades in the grade book yet.
Yeah, and how do we do the 3 dots? 2, 2. You said 2, 2, 3, 4, something like that.
2, 2, 3, 4.
The 3 dots that says therefore the final logic.
Oh, yeah. That's 2, 2, 3, 4, and then you hit Alt and the X key at the same time.
You mean the X letter?
The X key. So it would look like you would just type this. You would go 2, 2, 3, 4, and then Alt X,
Oh, yeah.
and there it is. And it pops
Okay.
up. Okay.
Okay,
Good.
thank you so much, mister.
No problem. I'll talk to you soon. Have a good weekend. Bye.
Bye, you too. Bye.
Okay. Emmanuel, how are you? Unmute yourself, please.
All right.
Okay. So you're telling me that you're drowning, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. Do me a favor. Stay unmuted, please, so that we can have a conversation. Okay. So here's
But
the
it's just that like what's it called? I like there's people and like.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, that's all right. Okay, then you go ahead. That's fine. Okay. So what math class did you take last year?
Algebra.
How are you doing in there?
Not that good.
Did you pass?
I don't know. I think.
All right. Were you
I
passing
got-
before we closed the schools?
Yeah, I got an A, but then before that I got 2 C's.
Okay. All right. Well, first of all, this isn't the advanced class. This is just the regular normal class. You know, talk to me about some of the other homeworks. Have you done any of those yet?
For the first one, I don't have a screenshot.
Are you using a Windows machine?
No, wait.
It's either
I
an
think-
Apple or a Windows. It's
Oh,
either Apple or a
Windows.
PC.
Windows.
Okay. So here's what I want you to do right now. I want you to hit the window key, the shift key, and the S key all at the same time.
Let me go to the Desmos geometry.
No. Anywhere, just right now.
Oh,
Just right now.
what do you want me to hit?
Windows, Shift, and S.
Windows, Shift, and
S is in Sam.
okay.
The whole screen should go gray.
Nothing happened.
Did the whole screen go gray?
No.
Okay. All right. Windows, Shift, and S. All three of these at the same time.
No, nothing happened.
Okay. So here's what I need you to do, because I got to get to class and so do you. I need you to see me during office hours today after school. Okay, the link to
All right,
my
what
office
time
hours-
is that?
It's right after school, so 2:40, 2:50, or 2:50, right?
Oh, all right.
All right, right after your 7th block is over. And the link for my office hours is on my Canvas page. It's at the very bottom.
Oh, okay.
All right, I'll see you at 2:50. Okay?
All right. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Talk to you later.
All right.